So when did you first notice in your psoriasis?
That's a little interesting. I was 37 years old when I officially had something I thought maybe psoriasis. First went to my primary care physician, and they pretty much said put some antibiotic on it, maybe a spider bite, but nothing else was done. So a couple months went by, got a little bit bigger. And then at that time, I happened to have a rheumatology appointment with my rheumatologist, and she stated that may be, I just asked her, because she's an immunologist as well. She said, that may be something else. That may be psoriasis. You may need to see a dermatologist. And I finally got to a dermatologist that my wife was seeing for something, and she sat me down and initially thought that this may be psoriasis.
How did you feel when you got the right diagnosis?
I was at that point 38 years old, and the psoriasis patch, what I thought was a bug bite, had grown. So I had a chance to really dig in and see exactly if this is psoriasis, what is this going to look like, what is this going to mean? And it was devastating. I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me, an African American or even African American male who had psoriasis. So she said it was psoriasis, and of course I'm noticeably shaken and upset on the phone. She said, well, we have a plan. And that was probably the most important part for me. She says, I'm with you with this. We're going to get through this.
I'm glad to hear that you met someone that you could feel supported by. The time for getting the right diagnosis takes a long time. For many, 6 months, yes, but it can also take, I've heard stories up to several years. There's a lack of information on what psoriatic disease look like on brown and black skin. So in that case, it might even take even longer before getting the right diagnosis. And therefore, it's so important that you are here and sharing your story today. And at IFPA as well, one of our goals is really to share awareness, raise awareness, and share knowledge.
It takes a village, but more importantly, at the incept of the diagnosis, it definitely takes someone who can recognize that this is possible on all types of skin, including black or brown skin.
Well, one of the other things we are doing at IFPA is really to strengthen and uniting our community, and we work very close with our members that has the direct contact with people like yourselves living with psoriatic disease.
But I'm glad that we do have an organization that represents the patient, like IFPA does as well. So those advocacy programs and those advocacy folks who work within the advocacy groups are very, very important.
How did you live your life?
A lot to myself. And my wife was there for my support system, so was my mother, but they didn't really understand as far as the journey of someone going through psoriasis. It was difficult trying to find a support system, but they found how to support me as their loved one and as their family member. And of course, the support from my primary care physician, who was absolutely wonderful, quarterbacking this thing. And of course, the person who was there from day one, which is my dermatologist.
Many people living with psoriatic disease can feel lonely, and it's very common that you isolate yourself, but that can also come as a consequence of your mental health, as you mentioned as well. So definitely what I hear works for many of other people I talk to is just that community, having the support, not feeling you're alone.